Hi guys, so today's video is all about sorority recruitment at Georgia State University. So I'm currently a freshman, sort of. I'm at the end of my freshman year at GSU, and I joined a sorority back in September of 2019, and doing sorority recruitment was one of the best decisions I ever made. Someone is deciding to cut their grass right as I'm trying to film. So yeah, I went through recruitment and it's the best decision I ever made, and I am now at like such a good place in my life with not only like my sorority but in my school. I've done nothing but benefit from being in a sorority, so I highly recommend looking into recruitment or looking into joining a certain sorority if you can. I really have been wanting to make this video for a while now, but I wanted to wait until I was in the sorority for a while to know more just about Panhellenic and like all the different sororities that Georgia State has to offer. But yes, so I am currently in Alpha Omicron Pi, which is part of the Panhellenic Circle of Sisterhood. If you don't know what that is, it's basically 26 sororities that are all considered to be Panhellenic sororities. So I'm not gonna like name all 26 of them, but those are gonna be Kappa Delta, Zeta Tau Alpha, Chi Omega, Tri Delta. Obviously, sororities are very diverse. Especially at Georgia State, sororities are very diverse, so it's just a great community of diverse women getting together to make a difference in the world, and that is just something that like I love so much. So yes, this video is going to be very specific to sorority recruitment at Georgia State. When I was going through recruitment, I was on YouTube constantly trying to find videos of what I should wear, how I should act, how much is sorority gonna cost me in the long run. I'm making this video to hopefully help some people who are planning on going through recruitment at GSU or just any Panhellenic recruitment. I hope this video helps you, but yes, I'm just going to get started with kind of how sorority recruitment works at GSU and what to expect. So the first step in going through recruitment is registration. So registration for GSU Panhellenic recruitment is actually open right now, and I'm gonna leave the link to registration down below in the description. So please click on it if you are interested. I would love that. But yes, I will leave the link down below. But the first step is registration, and registration right now I believe only is about $30 or $40, which is not bad. Most registrations at other schools are like $100 or something like that, which is insane. But at GSU right now, registration is only about $40, which is pretty cheap. And if you know, like if you're for sure that you want to be in a Panhellenic sorority here at GSU, go ahead and register right now so you can get that deal. Who doesn't love a deal? Throughout the summer, and especially when school starts back up, the price of registration is gonna increase. I, being the dummy that I am, wasn't really sure if I wanted to do recruitment, so I waited till the night that it was due to register, and I had to pay like $70, and it was expensive. Even if you're not sure if you want to do it in the long run, I would still recommend putting that money into it. So yes, so now that you've paid for recruitment, you now have to sign the agreements, and please read the fine print and read thoroughly through the registration forms and like documents and things, and also please talk it over with your parents before to like make sure everyone's on the same page about everything, because what happens a lot is girls, like, we just sign things randomly and we don't really know what they're getting into. When you sign the forms, you're basically agreeing to pay new member fees and dues if you do get into that sorority. That's what signing the waiver does, so make sure that like you're prepared for that. And a lot of people don't know is when you first join a sorority, you have to pay an arm and a leg to get initiated, and my personal fees for like being a new member and being initiated were about $500, and I only had like 2 months, a little less than 2 months to pay $500. Make sure you're in a good place. Make sure you start saving up your money now, so that way by the time recruitment comes over, you're good to pay. So yes. So another part of the registration process is you have to upload a picture of yourself, and you want to make sure that picture is a good picture. Don't just upload a random selfie or like something weird. Make sure you upload a picture of you having fun, being with friends, or not necessarily like with your friends, but you know what I mean. Like, just upload a picture of you that's like chill, pretty, cool, and like let these girls know like who you are through the picture you upload. I uploaded one of my senior pictures from high school. Now that I know that like they put your picture up in front of their whole chapter and talk about you, and the chapter is like basically judging you based on that one picture of you, I would have chosen a much better picture to upload, but it's in the long run, it doesn't really matter. As long as you have a great personality and you talk to people and are super outgoing, they're gonna love you. So yes. So now that registration is complete, you've paid, you've signed your agreements, and you've uploaded a picture of yourself. Now, depending on when you register, like if you register now, obviously you won't have to worry about recruitment orientation until like months later. But if you're like me and you registered for recruitment a couple days or even the night of like when it was due, you have orientation the very next day, which orientation is on a Thursday. So the dates of recruitment are September 11th through 13th. So the orientation is usually held on the night before formal recruitment begins, so it will be on that Thursday, September 10th. I'm not sure if it's a Thursday this year. It might be different. I don't know. But yeah, for me, last year recruitment orientation was the night before, and orientation was kind of a little nerve-wracking just because like I literally didn't know anyone. I was going into it completely alone, completely by myself, but you know, it's all about being vulnerable and like showing them that you're able to get along with a group of people and like situate yourself. But yeah, so at orientation you meet all the chapters at GSU, and you also meet the Panhellenic Council and executive boards and all your recruitment counselors, and immediately at recruitment you will get divided off into your Pi Chi group. So right when you walk into recruitment, you get split off into your Pi Chi group, and you're gonna be with this group of girls for the entirety of the recruitment. So you're gonna get very close to some of these girls. You're gonna be like really good friends with these girls, and this is also an awesome way to make good Greek relations, even if you don't end up being in the same sorority with them. Even if you don't end up being in a sorority at all, this is a great way to get Greek relations with girls in other sororities and girls in Greek life that are not in your same chapter or anything. And after you get into your group, you meet your recruitment counselors, and every single group has 2 or 3 of their recruitment counselors, and your recruitment counselors are called Pi Chis, and Pi Chis are basically there for you. They are literally there for the PNMs that walk into the door on the first day and that are scared and confused and might not know what to do. And what a PNM is potential new member. During recruitment, that's what you'll be called. You'll be called a PNM. So yes, recruitment counselors are there to guide the PNMs through the process and make them feel better and less anxious about everything. And your Pi Chis will also be the ones giving you calls and telling you if you made it back to the second day or not. But yes, that's for later. But yeah, and at GSU, as I said, there are 5. There's Zeta Tau Alpha, Delta Zeta, Alpha Z Delta, Phi Mu, and my sorority, which is AO Pi. If you can see it, yes, AO Pi. I'm an Alpha Omicron Pi, and I love it. AO Pi till I die. Literally, trust me, everyone is so incredibly nice and welcoming and just so like accepting, and it really is a great experience. So don't be intimidated by them. Some of them can be kind of intimidating, but once you get to know them, I swear they're the nicest girls you will ever meet. So on orientation, you also meet the Panhellenic exec board, and the exec board is basically the girls that are over all of Panhellenic and over all of the sororities, and basically they keep things functioning smoothly between all of Panhellenic. So these girls do belong to an individual chapter, but they are on exec board, so they have a position on Panhellenic which advises and is over, not really over their they're not directly over their own sorority, but they run all of the sororities out. It's very confusing, trust me. You'll understand it later. At orientation, you will learn literally everything you'll need to know about dates, times, what to wear, how to be just prepared for recruitment the following 3 days. So after orientation night is done, now begins formal recruitment. And formal recruitment starts on a Friday and lasts up until Sunday. So this year the dates are going to be the 11th through the 13th of September. So if you're going to GSU, the first day of classes is August 26th, so you will have about 2 weeks to prepare for recruitment if you are planning on doing it. So at orientation, they'll tell you a little bit about the outfits that they expect you to wear. On the first day, it's usually a more casual outfit, usually cute and casual is what I like to call it. It's something that is like a little bit dressed up, but like not like heels or anything like that. So just imagine like what you would wear to school in high school. Like if you wanted to dress up for a day in high school, like what would you wear on a picnic or something, or on a date, much rather a date. So the first day of recruitment is called Philanthropy Day, and on this day you will learn about each sorority's philanthropy that they're involved in. I don't know all of them, but I know Zeta Tau Alpha is obviously breast cancer. Alpha Omicron Pi is arthritis, specifically juvenile arthritis. Alpha Z Delta is, what is Alpha Z Deltas? Oh, Alpha Z Deltas is autism. Phi Muse is children, or like children or something, and I forget what Delta Zetas is, but yes, if you want to learn about their philanthropies, just visit any of their websites. You can learn all about them. So yes, on the first day you visit all 5 chapters, and in all 5 of those chapters you learn about their philanthropies, and it's a more informational day than it is like I don't know, it's the most, I don't want to say it's the most formal out of the 3 days, but people are a little bit more serious on Philanthropy Day. They're talking about something that's kind of serious. This day is the reason why we have sororities, is because of the philanthropy. So it's pretty serious to me. I don't know. But yeah, so for the first day, every single girl will have the opportunity to go to every house or chapter that GSU has. So it is the longest out of the 3 days. So this day, I remember we had to be there at 3:30, and I remember I didn't get back to my dorm until like 10 o'clock at night. It was a long day, but I made it. So the day starts off by you getting to your specific location. The past years, I believe the formal recruitment has been held in Dahlberg Hall, which is just a huge like auditorium type of thing. It has a stage and everything. It's like a little auditorium. But yeah, I'm so sorry. This lawnmower is being so rude. You sign in, and once you sign in and make sure everything's good to go, you go in and you go sit with the group of girls you met at orientation the night before. So it's super simple and easy, and you like see some familiar faces that you met the night before, and it's super great. So on this day, you are first greeted by Pan-Exec again, and the Panhellenic president is going to talk for a little bit about expectations for the day. She's going to talk about some rules like no gum, no phones, no like all that stuff. Usually at other schools usually have a Greek row of houses, like a giant neighborhood full of like mansions and like giant houses. At GSU, we don't have that. We kind of have like townhomes that are next to each other, but it's not really like a Greek row or anything. It's just like, we call it a Greek community because we're all really close together, but like they're like townhomes, so they're not like, they're pretty big actually. They're like a good sized townhome. Each chapter basically has their own like room for recruitment, I guess. They each have their own like ballroom set up, and they decorate the ballroom, and it's just as cute as a house or anything, so it's really awesome. The only thing is, each ballroom for each chapter is literally right next to each other. Like, it's a row of ballrooms right next to each other, and on the first day when you get there, they're going to be screaming and chanting at the top of their lungs, and you're going to be very scared. I was very actually I'm gonna speak for myself. I was very, very terrified my first day because I was not expecting to hear hundreds of girls chanting and screaming at the top of their lungs, like at the same time. So I kind of like got a little scared and started crying, and it was fine. Oh, so one thing I forgot to mention is when you first walk in, you will get a schedule on a name tag. So you get your name tag, and on your name tag you have like the schedule of houses that you're supposed to be at. All the people in your group have the same schedule as you. Since there are more groups of girls than there are actual chapters at GSU, your group will most likely be with another group, or you know, like groups will be combined most likely. So there's an equivalent number of girls to match up with sisters in the chapter, like waiting for you to come in. Once you get to the venue, and once the Panhellenic president talks for a second, and once you get your schedule, everyone's gonna line up into these giant lines, and you're all gonna walk together to your first assigned chapter. And I remember my first chapter was Zeta, and I loved Zeta. Zeta's Philanthropy Day was so much fun. I loved everything about like women's healthcare, and that was right up my alley. So I had so much fun on my first day, and it was just, actually thinking back to my first day, I was terrified. Like I was literally so scared, but I don't know why. It turned out to be fine. But anyways, on my first day, everyone lined up to go into their houses, and as I said, all the ballrooms are next to each other. So you have one giant line of girls, another giant line of girls, another giant line of girls, all like adjacent to each other. A couple minutes before you go into the ballrooms, recruitment counselors will come out and start yelling at each other and like yell 5 minutes and knock on the door to let the girls in the chapter room know that they're ready and the girls are ready to come in. And literally at the same exact time, all of the ballroom doors open, and all the girls that are like in the sorority, like the sisters, line up, and you walk through all this like tunnel. Like it's like they line up on either side of the doors, and each P&M lines up and gets ready to walk in through the door. And I remember I was the very first one in my line, so I was like terrified. I didn't know what to do. I was shoved into this room of girls, and as soon as I walked in, a girl came and grabbed my arm and like led me to like a place that we could like talk and chat and whatever. And yeah, it's a very efficient system if you think about it. Like every girl that walks in, a girl from either side of the line inside the ballroom comes and takes that girl and talks to them in their own little private space. That is pretty much how every day works. The ballroom doors open, there's going to be a line of girls on either side of the doors, and you walk in, and I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about. You walk in, and one of the girls from the line is going to get out of line and take you by the shoulder, or like grab your arm and like lead you to a place to talk. After you have done this process 5 times and the first day is over, at the end of the day, you go to a little secret computer lab thing with your group, and everyone is asked to drop at least one sorority that they just did not like at all, or that they just didn't vibe with. And you know, it's okay if you didn't vibe with a sorority. That literally is fine. Like not everyone's gonna vibe with everyone, of course. So you drop that one sorority, and yeah. And also one thing to keep in mind is once you drop a sorority, that sorority cannot ask you to come back the next day. So don't expect the sorority to ask you to come back if you drop them. I mean, that's kind of common sense. After the first day, so after you've dropped your one sorority and you've ranked your top 4 sororities by the ones you like the most and the ones you like the least, you are free to go back to your dorm or your home or whatever. And you go back home and you are panicking because you are waiting for a call from your recruitment counselor to see if you got invited back to the next day of recruitment by at least one sorority. So yeah, if you get invited back to the next day by at least one sorority, they're gonna call you. So when your recruitment counselor calls you that night to tell you if you got invited back the next day, they're not going to specify like which sororities called you back or anything. They're just going to call you and say, hey girl, you got invited back to the next day, congratulations, blah blah blah. And when you get that call, you will be so happy. Trust me, I was so happy when I got called back the next day. So day 2 is all about sisterhood. This day is called Sisterhood Day, and for Sisterhood Day, the dress is going to be a little bit more dressier. Each day gets a little bit more dressier, but the second day you are asked to wear your Sunday best. So basically what you would wear to church. I'm not sure. Nowadays, people go to church dressed pretty casual, like very casual. So I would say dress up if you were going on an interview, or dress up as if you were going maybe to like a wedding or something. Like a dress with heels or a dress with wedges is what I think of for day 2 outfits for GSU. The main thing to keep in mind is don't wear jeans or tennis shoes. Jeans and tennis shoes is okay for the first day, but definitely not for the second day. The girls are expecting you to be a little bit more formal, just like simply out of respect for them and their chapters. So yes, make sure you have on your Sunday best clothing, whatever you think that may be. You can also Pinterest some outfits. But as I said, the second day is Sisterhood Day, and Sisterhood Day is so much fun. You get to learn about each sorority's different sisterhood events and social events, and it is great hearing some of the stories that they tell you about some of their sisters, and you also get to meet a lot more of the sisters. I remember on the first day I didn't talk to that many sisters. I talked to maybe 1 or 2 sisters from each sorority. On the second day, you're talking to 3 or 4 different sisters from each sorority. So definitely make sure you have talking points, or you think of things to say during your conversations to make you stand out. So on the second day, it gets a little bit more complicated. When you come back to your venue first thing in the morning, you will get your schedule back, but your schedule will look very, very different from the first day, because some sororities may have dropped you, or you know, you definitely won't have all 5 sororities on your schedule anymore. On the second day, it's likely that you will have 2 to 3, maybe sometimes people get 4, but I remember people mainly having 2 or 3 houses to go back to on the second day. I personally only had 2 houses to go back to, but you know, like regardless of how many houses you get called back to the second day, you still got called back, which is still a positive thing to keep in mind. Don't take being called back to one house as getting dropped by 4 houses. Like, think of it as one chapter really, really liked your vibe and your energy, and they want you to be in their sorority. So a good thing to keep in mind is just to stay positive throughout the entire time, and also trust the process, and don't expect anything. Don't keep your expectations very low, because that is the best way to not get hurt in the end, is just to keep your expectations low. Not only for recruitment, that's also for anything in life, to me personally. So on the second day, I got my schedule and I saw that I had 2 houses to come back to the second day. So I was super happy, because the 2 houses I got called back to were the 2 houses that I loved the most the first day. So it was good to see that, you know, like the other girls on the other side kind of felt the same way about me that I felt about them. So it was great. I got called back to 2 houses. I was ready. I was happy. And you know, obviously on the second day it also can be kind of sad, because some girls only get called back to 1 house, which again, like, you have to try and stay positive if you do get called back to 1 house. Even if you do get called back to at least 1, it's at least a house. Some girls don't even get called back at all. So, you know, like, try to stay positive and it'll all work out in the end, trust me. After you go to all the houses that are on your schedule, as I said, some girls have more than others. Some girls have 2, some girls have 3, some girls just have 1. So everyone's schedule is going to be very different this day. Oh, another thing is you're still with your pie card group. You're with your pie card group the whole time, so no worries, you're with the same group. Second day, I had 2 houses to go back to. I had Zeta Tau Alpha and Alpha Omicron Pi, which were my top 2. I was so happy. I went to both of the chapters that day, and you know, the same process. We all lined up in 5 giant lines. The doors open, the girls welcomed us in, they guided us, and this day you're talking to the girls for a little bit longer, and also you're talking to more girls in each chapter that you go to. This day it is a little bit harder to keep up good conversations and like stand out. Like, I think it's harder just because the first day you put like so much energy into it, and there's just so much happening. But the end of the second day, this day it's a little bit similar to what happened at the end of the first day. You go to a little secret computer lab, and this day you're not asked to drop any houses, you're just asked to rank each house. So you're gonna rank each house that you went to, your favorite, your least favorite, your blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean. So you rank them, and after you rank them, you're free to go, but you cannot fall asleep because the phone call that you get on the second night is the most important phone call you will get throughout all of recruitment. So make sure you do not fall asleep. So once you get back to your dorm, you're gonna get a phone call from your Pi Chi, and this time they're either gonna say you got invited back to preference round or you will not be coming back to preference day. They're gonna either tell you you got invited back or you didn't. They're not gonna specify which house you got invited back to or which houses you got invited back to. By the way, I'm saying houses, but I really mean chapters. We don't do houses, so yeah. So like if you got invited back, great. Keep an open mind, stay positive, don't be discouraged. On the preference round, you're still going to that same venue that you went to the other 2 days. So the Veterans Hall or Speakers Auditorium, whatever. It's an auditorium. So yes, you go back, and on this day, everyone is asked to wear a black dress and black shoes out of respect for the founders and the ritual moments of the chapters that are there. On the third day, everyone gets their schedules again, and on this day, most people only have like 1 or 2 chapters asking them to come back. A lot of girls only had 1 chapter asking them to come back. I had 1 chapter. Some of my close friends had 1 chapter. So it was, I don't know. It can be sad and disappointing for some girls. I personally was so relieved and so happy that I had AOPI as my only chapter to come back to because they were the only ones that I felt like really close and connected to, especially after the first 2 days. I was just very thankful for that. Some girls, obviously, when they saw they only got called back to 1 house and, you know, it might not have been the house that they wanted. Some girls, like, obviously can be a little sad by that, but remember to stay positive and, like, just be happy. Some girls didn't even get called back at all, so, you know, just be happy and thankful and everything's gonna work out. So on the third day, it's a lot more quiet and calm. There's not nearly as much chanting and clapping and woo excitement going on, so it's a little bit like, I personally loved preference day. It was so special to me. The preference ceremony for the 1 chapter that I got called back to was so beautiful. Still lined up in the same like lines we had, but instead of walking into like chanting and clapping, the girls are like singing a really like slow and beautiful song, and they're all in like unison, and it's just really, really, really pretty, and I was sobbing. One thing about preference round is you will cry all your makeup off and you will be sobbing. On this day, you typically will only be talking to 1 sister for the whole hour and a half, I think. I think this round lasts for a little bit over an hour, and for that whole time, you're going to be talking to 1 sister, and usually the 1 sister that you are talking to is the one that prepped you the night before, or from Sisterhood Day. They're going to be the one that prepped you to come back to that chapter. So it's really, really special, and usually both of you will be crying, and it's totally normal. I don't know anyone who didn't cry at preference day. That's how serious it is. So yes, also on this day, it's really beautiful because you get to learn a little bit about that chapter's rituals and a little bit about like just it's really, really deep on the third day, if you know what I mean. So at the end of the third day, you basically do the same process. You go back to your secret computer lab and you're asked to rank the chapters that you went to that day. As I said, a lot of girls only had like 1 or 2, so it was pretty easy, but for those girls who did end up getting 3, I did know a couple people who did end up getting like 3 preference rounds, or getting prepped by 3 chapters, so they ranked them in order. I had 1, so I had put my 1 up there, and I said a little prayer, and I trusted the process. So at the end of that, I went back to my dorm, and I just completely, I don't know, I couldn't even do homework. I was so stressed out. I was freaking out. I was wondering, am I gonna get a call? Am I gonna get invited back? Did they like me? Did I cry too much? I was panicking, and I don't even know why. It's literally not that big of a deal. My recruitment counselor finally called me and told me that I had gotten a bid from a chapter, and again, they're not gonna tell you like which chapter gave you a bid or anything. They just tell you if you got a bid or not. And what a bid is a formal invitation to join that chapter of whatever you chose, or whatever you prefed or whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying. The bid is basically the invitation to join the chapter that you just went to on preference round, and you the way it works is you won't get a bid from a chapter that you didn't go to on preference round. So if you only had one chapter to go to on preference round, that's the chapter that you will most likely be getting a bid from. If you make it to a chapter's preference round, that means you have a 99.9% chance of getting a bid from them, because if they didn't really like you from the previous days, you would not be in preference round with them, knowing their like secrets and everything. So that's one good thing to keep in mind. Don't be nervous after preference round, because if you even went to preference round, you have a very good chance of getting a bid from that chapter. And if you did end up getting a bid, you rush back to your venue, the same exact venue, you go with your group. So when you get invited to come back after preference round, formal recruitment is now over. So now, after formal recruitment is now over, we have run out. So run out is basically what it says. When you run out to your new home or your chapter that bidded you or gave you a bid, you run out to them. So when you get back to your venue, everyone's gonna line up in the same long lines, and you're all gonna walk over, and you're gonna walk to the little plaza student center section, and you're gonna most likely take pictures with your group and like take pictures one last time before you all like part ways into your own chapters. And it's kind of sad. Like, I miss the people in my Pi Guy group. I had so much fun with them. But you take pictures and you talk, and you all are gonna get handed a envelope with your bid inside of your envelope by your recruitment counselor. So all of us were like standing in a circle, and we all like, there was a someone was counting down, and at the end of the countdown, everyone rips open their envelopes at once and sees who they got a bid from. And a lot of people already knew who they were getting a bid from, because like, as I said, a lot of people only had one bid or had one preference round to go to. So a lot of people already knew what chapters they were in before we even got our envelopes. So, but for the people who didn't really know, who had like more options, when they opened up their envelope and saw what sorority they got into, they were so happy, and everyone was like screaming and like laughing, and it was just such a happy time. And I like genuinely am so thankful that like I got a bid from AOPI, because I was so happy. And after everyone opens up their envelopes, they are now free to run home to their own chapters. And the way it works at Georgia State is all the chapters are in this like huge plaza thing, and every chapter, so AOPI, Zeta, AZD, DZ, and Phi Mu all have their own like theme going on. And so for AOPI, we had like a disco theme, and everyone was like dressed in like disco pants and sparkly outfits and sunglasses and red lipstick, and it was so incredibly cute. Phi Mu had their little like pink Barbie theme that they always do, and it was so cute. Different chapters have their different theme going on, and it is so cute. And there's music, and there's dancing, and there's pictures. We took pictures for at least an hour. Like, we took a bunch of pictures. The GSU preference round and bid day are in the same day. So you have preference round in the morning, and then bid day is at night, so I guess it's called a bid night or whatever. So after you run home and spend an hour taking pictures and like hugging everyone, you will then go with a sister. Every new girl or every new member of whatever chapter they run to is going to get paired up with a girl that's already in the sorority. So an active sister is going to be paired up with you, and everyone has their own buddy, and everyone goes with their buddies to the Bday Party, which is like an event after run out, which you go, and it's basically just a party. There's music, there's food, there's dancing, there's more pictures. It's so much fun. AOPI had a disco theme, so obviously our Bday Party was a disco party, so there was like a disco ball and music, and it was so much fun. I had so much fun. I like genuinely am like so thankful that I like had that opportunity to like go through recruitment and everything. So after the bid night party is over, congratulations, you made it through formal recruitment, and now you are in your chapter. So that is it for formal recruitment at GSU. I hope I made sense. Please let me know if I made sense or not. Also, please let me know if you like this video. I want to do another video where I talk about like tips and advice for sorority recruitment. If you like this video, please let me know by commenting or liking the video or something. And yes, I'm going to leave the link for registration for Panhellenic recruitment at Georgia State University down in the description, and I highly recommend you at least look into it. It is the best decision I've ever made in my life, and it has honestly made me into the person I am today. It changed me for the better, and I've done nothing but benefit from being in Alpha Omicron Pi. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.